Most women our age are taught that to build something new, you have to add more to your plate. We're told to hustle harder, to be everywhere at once, and to shout into the digital void until someone notices. But at this stage of the great shift, we don't need more noise. We need more intention. If your business feels like a heavy coat that you're struggling to keep on, it's likely because your content isn't anchored to a specific profitable niche that honors your space. You're not failing. You are simply spread too thin to be felt. Before we find the solution together, I've placed a free anchor for you in the description box below, the Glimmer and Grace Co action guide for curating your content legacy. Download it now so that you can map out your own shift as we speak, or if you're driving, do it later. It's available for you when you're ready. This is a tool for the task of moving from chaos to sophisticated simplicity. If you're new to our circle, welcome to the Glimmer and Grace Co podcast. I'm Michelle, and I'm here to help you navigate your graceful pivot towards a soft life of sophisticated simplicity while helping you build your quiet income from your digital boutique. I spent 30 years in the classroom, and now I'm sharing my teacher notes on how to turn your life experience into a legacy. Creating content for your digital boutique isn't something that we do on the fly while waiting for a kettle to boil. It requires a long-term planning process that respects your time and your energy. Think of your niche and your content plan like the foundation of a home on the Gulf Coast. Without a deep anchor, the first storm of family obligations or burnout will wash your progress away. Success is the next chapter that comes down to a brain funnel of distillation. We start by identifying your core business goals, not the world's goals, but yours. Are you looking to launch a new digital product that shares your unique wisdom? Do you need to double your list of prospects so that you have a steady stream of glimmers in your inbox? Or is your heart set on increasing your reputation as a trusted authority in your field? Your content is the bridge between what was and what is becoming. To cross it, we must categorize everything we create into 4 core areas: awareness, lead generation, paid content, and relationship content. Imagine you're hosting a dinner party on a French Quarter balcony. Your awareness content is the beautiful music drifting down to the street. It's the wide entrance that familiarizes potential customers with your presence. It's public, it's optimized, and its only job is to cast a wide net to build your reputation. Once they walk up the stairs, you offer them lead generation content. This is like the appetizer, a small taste of the value you provide. This is where your lead magnet, the Glimmer and Grace Co action guide for curating your content legacy, does the heavy lifting. It qualifies your leads and turns a casual passerby into a true prospect. Then we have the paid content. This is the main course, the digital products, courses, or workshops that generate your quiet income. This content is created with a single, clear goal: to earn income by helping someone solve a specific problem. Finally, there's relationship content. This is the coffee and conversation after the meal. It's the weekly newsletters or the Q&A call where you listen to your customers' needs and build a loyal following. This is often exclusive to those who have already joined your circle, ensuring they feel the grace and presence you've promised. To make this shift sustainable, I want you to pick your top 3 business goals right now. Don't pick 10, pick 3. Perhaps it's building social media engagement, expanding your reputation, and launching your first digital asset. When you focus, you create a portable life that travels with you, whether you're following the adult kids or preparing for a new grandbaby. Once you've anchored your 3 business goals, the next step in our shift toward a soft life is understanding exactly who you are talking to. In the world of digital boutiques, we often hear the word audience, but I want you to think of them as your circle. When we try to speak to everyone, we end up speaking to no one. It's like trying to heat an entire house with one small candle. The warmth never reaches anyone, But when you narrow your focus, when you find your portable niche, it's like placing that candle inside a small glass lantern. The light becomes concentrated, intentional, and strong enough to lead the way. To find your niche, you must identify your target circle. These are the people who are not just looking for information, but are looking for your specific brand of vetted wisdom. We don't just look at demographics like age or location. We look at the shared experience. Think of a woman in the sandwich generation. She's caring for aging parents while also guiding her own children. She doesn't need a hack for time management. She needs a legacy-driven framework for finding peace in the transition. That is a niche. It is specific. It is deeply felt, and it is where your quiet income begins to grow. This is exactly why I built the Glimmer and Grace Co action guide for curating your content legacy for you. It takes this complexity of who am I helping and returns it to a sophisticated simplicity. To truly understand your niche, I use a 3-step framework I call the Resonance Audit. First, look at the urgent problem. What's the one thing keeping your circle awake at 2 a.m.? Is it the fear that they've lost their identity in their career? Is it the desire to build a portable life so that they can follow their adult kids across the country? Your niche lives where their deepest needs meet your greatest strength. Second, identify the desired glimmer. What's the soft life version of their solution? They don't just want a digital product, they want the freedom that the product gives. They want the grace of a Tuesday afternoon spent with their grandchild without checking a work email. Third, recognize the language of the shift. How do they describe their struggle? Use their words, not jargon. If they say that they feel stretched thin, don't tell them that you'll help them optimize their bandwidth. Tell them you'll help them find their anchor. I remember a woman I worked with here in our circle. She had 25 years of experience in interior design, but she was exhausted by the grind of physical renovations. She felt like a slave to contractors and deadlines, so we pivoted her niche to interior grace for the downsizing matriarch. She wasn't just decorating rooms anymore. She was helping women curate their legacy in smaller, more intentional spaces. By narrowing her niche, her work became lighter, her income became quiet, and her joy returned. You see, your niche isn't a cage. It's a lighthouse. It tells people exactly where you are so that they can find their way to you. When you choose a profitable niche, you aren't leaving money on the table. You're clearing the table so only the most meaningful work remains. Before we move into actually planning the content that serves this niche, take a moment to breathe. This pivot doesn't happen overnight. It's a series of small, intentional choices that lead to a life of grace. It's not a get-rich-quick idea, but a soft, quiet income that grows with time. Now that we've anchored our goals and identified our circle, we have to look at the inventory of the heart. One of the biggest hurdles I see women face in the Great Shift is the belief that they are starting from zero. You might feel like you're standing in an empty room, wondering how to fill it. But as a modern elder, I can tell you your room is already full of treasure. You just need to organize it and optimize it. To build a sustainable content plan, you must first take stock of the content you already have. This is the distillation phase of our brain funnel. Have you written emails or texts that solved a friend's problem? Do you have old presentations, journals, or even social media posts where your vetted wisdom was truly able to shine? This is your raw material. I want to introduce you to the framework that I call the Pillar and Porch Method. The pillars are your core topics, the 3 to 5 big ideas you want to be known for. These are the legacy pieces of your business. For example, if your digital boutique is about intentional living for women 50 and over, your pillars might be quiet income, wellness in the pivot, and digital simplicity. The porch is where you invite the people to talk about those pillars. This is your editorial calendar. Instead of waking up and asking, what should I post today? You look at your calendar and see that this week we are sitting on the porch talking about quiet income. This level of planning is what creates sophisticated simplicity. It removes the grind of daily decision making. This is exactly why I mentioned the Glimmer and Grace Co action guide for curating your content legacy. It includes a space for you to map out these pillars so that you aren't constantly reinventing the wheel. It helps you to see that you don't need 1,000 ideas. You need 4 good ones, shared with grace and repetition. Let me tell you a story about the power of an editorial calendar. A woman here in our circle wanted to teach sustainable gardening for grandmothers. She was overwhelmed because she felt that she had to talk about everything: soil, seeds, seasons, tools, all at once. She was exhausted before she even planted a single digital seed. We applied the Pillar and Porch Method. We mapped out 3 months. Month 1 was preparing the soil. This was the mindset of starting over. Month 2 was planting the legacy, or choosing what to teach. And month 3 was the harvest, selling her first digital guide. By looking 3 months ahead, she found her glimmer. She realized she didn't have to be the hustle queen of the garden. She just had to be the family anchor who knew when to plant the tomatoes. To make your plan realistic, you must consider your resources. This isn't just about money, honey. It's about your energy currency. Identify your strong points. Do you love to talk? Start a podcast or a video series. Do you love to write? Start a deep dive newsletter or start writing on Substack to people who will subscribe to your column. Mark your grace periods. Look at your calendar for the next 90 days. Where are the birthdays? Where are the trips to see the grandkids? Mark those first. Your business must fit into your life, not the other way around. The 70-30 rule. 70% of your content should be planned and pillar-based, leaving 30% for the glimmers, or those spontaneous moments of inspiration that happen when you're walking the dogs or sitting on the balcony. When you have a 1-page content plan, you aren't just a business owner. You're a curator of your own legacy. You are building a portable life that allows you to be present for what matters most. Now let's talk about how we actually move someone from being a stranger to being part of your inner circle. This is where the Nurture series comes in. In a digital world, people talk about email marketing, but I like to think of it as the guest room. When someone downloads your lead magnet, like the Glimmer and Grace Co action guide, they have effectively walked through your front door. Your job isn't to immediately sell them something. Your job is to make them feel at home. You want to show them where the towels are, offer them a cool drink, and let them know that they're safe here. A profitable niche is sustained by a 3-email nurture framework: the delivery and the delight. The first email delivers the anchor tool they asked for. You acknowledge their shift. You say, "I see you, and I know why you're here." The shared struggle. The second email is where you share a modern elder story. You talk about a time when you felt the weight of the sandwich generation or the fear of starting over. This creates resonance. The invitation to the soft life. The third email connects their problems to your digital boutique solution. You show them that quiet income isn't just a dream. It's a practical step that they can take today. Let me tell you about our friend who wanted to teach sustainable gardening for grandmothers and the power of this nurture process. She was able to apply this nurture framework to her digital boutique business, and instead of shouting about garden tips on Facebook every day, she invited women into her 3-day email journey called the Legacy Garden. By the 3rd day, her readers weren't just looking for plant tips. They were looking for ways to connect with their grandchildren through nature. Her niche became intergenerational gardening, and her digital boutique flourished because she focused on the relationship, not just the transaction. This is the soft life approach to business. We aren't hunting for customers. We are tending a garden of relationships. And as we move deeper into planning, we have to address the elephant in the room: time. Most of us in the Gen X sandwich years are squeezed between aging parents and growing children. We don't have 40 hours a week to sit at a desk to create content. Now, this is where we use the 70-30 content rule that I mentioned earlier. To maintain your peace, 70% of your content should be planned and pillar-based. This is the content you create when you have the energy. Perhaps a quiet Tuesday morning. You use the tools like PLR or private label rights to give you a head start, as we've discussed before. This ensures that even when life gets loud, your business continues to speak with a calm, steady voice. The remaining 30% are for the glimmers, those spontaneous moments. It's a photo of the Bayou Boys, my dogs, Rocky, Elliot, and Buddha on a walk. It's a quick thought of grace that hit you while you were making coffee this morning. 30% is what makes your brand human. It's the friend on the porch showing up in real time. To make this plan realistic, look at your calendar for the next 90 days. Remember to, first, mark your non-negotiables. Family birthdays, the move to a new city, the arrival of a grandchild. These are your grace periods. Next, identify your creation windows. Maybe it's just 2 hours on a Thursday. Finally, assign one pillar to each week. When you align your business goals with your actual life, the grind disappears, girl. You stop being a slave to an algorithm and start being the architect of your legacy. Now that we've mapped out your 90-day window and talked about the glimmers in your daily life, I want to talk about a concept that will save your sanity as you build your digital boutique. It's called the legacy loop, or what the corporate world might call repurposing. In our younger years, we were taught that everything had to be new, new, new. We were chasing the next big thing, the next viral moment, the hustle of staying relevant. But as a modern elder, I want you to embrace the beauty of the slow simmer. You don't need to create more. You need to let what you've already created work harder for you. Imagine you've spent a morning in your garden. You harvested a basket of beautiful tomatoes. You wouldn't just eat one and throw the rest away, would you? No. You'd make a salad for lunch. You'd simmer a sauce for dinner. You'd jar up the rest so that in the middle of the winter, you could still taste that sunshine of the harvest. Your content, your vetted wisdom should be exactly the same. Let's take one pillar piece of content. Perhaps you've written a deep, soulful blog post or a transcript from a video about navigating the shift to a portable life. That is your harvest. Now let's look at how we start to loop it. The seed or the pillar, this is your long form content. It's the 1,000 words of your best teaching. The sprout, social media. You take 3 glimmers, 3 punchy, insightful sentences from that post, and you turn them into 3 separate social media invitations. You aren't writing something new. You're sharing a taste of the harvest. The bloom, the newsletter. You take the core framework from that post and you send it to your inner circle in your guest room email. You add a personal note about what you're learning this week. The preserve, the digital asset. You take 4 of these related pillar posts, add a checklist and an introduction, and suddenly you have a lead magnet or a small digital product. This is how you build a soft life business. You create once and you share with grace many times. This is exactly why the Glimmer and Grace Co action guide for curating your content legacy includes a repurposing tracker. I want you to see visually how 1 hour of creation can support 2 weeks of presence. When you use this legacy loop, you stop feeling like a slave to the content vacuum. You realize that your wisdom is evergreen. The truth about finding peace in the transition or building a quiet income doesn't expire. It simply needs to be served in different ways for different people. I want to give you an example from a woman that I've mentored here in this circle. She was a retired nurse who wanted to help women manage the stress of caring for aging parents. She was a brilliant teacher. She was terrified of social media. She thought she had to be a girl boss, making videos every hour and dancing on TikTok. We took one 20-minute recording of her sharing her nurse's heart advice. From that one recording, we created a month's worth of content. We had her quotes for her porch posts and a 3-part email series and a PDF called The Caregiver's Anchor. She didn't have to work harder. She just had to work with more intentionality. She found that by focusing on her loop, She had more time to actually sit with her own mother and enjoy a cup of tea. That is the soft life in action. This is the beauty of our stage of life. We aren't here to shout. We're here to whisper the truths that matter. And a whisper repeated with grace can be far more powerful than a shout that is forgotten in seconds. As we begin to wrap up our time together on the porch, I want to talk to you about the editorial standards of grace. This is a concept I hold very dear, especially for us women who have spent decades meeting everyone else's standard, the bosses, the school district, the family. When you start your own digital boutique, there's a temptation to bring those rigid, harsh expectations with you. You might think your content has to look like a glossy magazine or that you have to speak like a corporate CEO. But sophisticated simplicity means setting standards that honor the woman who you are now. Your editorial standards are simply the rules of the house for your brand. They are the guardrails that keep your content aligned with your legacy. Ask yourself, is this helpful? Is it visually calm? Does it sound like a friend on the porch or a teacher's heart? If a piece of content feels like a grind to create, or if it feels noisy and hustle driven, it doesn't pass the grace test. It doesn't belong in your boutique. You need to be yourself and honor who you are now. This is the beauty of being a modern elder in the digital space. We aren't here to chase trends. We're here to set a soft tone. Remember, before you sit down to make new content for your digital boutique, does this content piece serve one of my 3 business goals that we talked about earlier? If it's just a filler, then let it go, girl. It's a waste of your time. Number 2, remember your presence. Does this allow me to be present in my own life? If creating this requires me to miss a glimmer with my grandson or a walk with my Bayou boys, I need to use a tool like a PLR asset that we discussed to simplify the process. Number 3, does it make a profit? Is there a clear path to quiet income here? Every piece of awareness content should eventually lead back to the anchor, your lead magnet, or your paid product. Number 4, does this give me peace? When I hit publish, do I feel a sense of relief and pride, or do I feel depleted? If you follow those 4 P's, the purpose, presence, profit, and peace, you will find that your niche becomes more than just a business category. It becomes a sanctuary for you and for the women you serve for years to come. Before I close out this podcast episode, remember to take a look at your Glimmer and Grace Co. action guide for curating your content legacy. I don't want this just to be another podcast you listen to while you're folding the laundry. I want this to be the moment the great shift becomes real for you. It will help give you clarity to begin your digital boutique and start your quiet income. Choose your 3 goals. Identify your circle. Pick your pillars. And most importantly, give yourself permission to move slowly. We are building a legacy, and legacies aren't built in a day. They're curated, one glimmer at a time. I know the road ahead might feel a little misty, moving to a new city or starting a new business, embracing new roles as a grandmother. These are big shifts, but you don't have to navigate them alone. You have your vetted wisdom, you have your anchor tools, and you have this circle. The soft life isn't a life without work. It's a life where the work fits the soul. It's a life where your income is quiet, so your joy can be loud. Before you head off to choose your profitable niche and map out your next 90 days, remember this isn't about perfection. It's about progress with grace. You have everything you need within you to turn your experience into an asset that serves others and sustains you. If this resonated with you, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the podcast. Join our community of women who are reclaiming their time and their talent. Don't forget to lean on the Glimmer and Grace Co. action guide for curating your content legacy that we've discussed today. You'll find it in the link waiting for you in the description box. Let it be your compass for your pivot today and your map for your quiet income tomorrow. Remember to find your glimmer today and walk in grace. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.